Welcome back, everyone, to Auburn University, and one of the time-honored traditions here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The Eagle let loose, circling the stadium and sticking the landing at midfield.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
And let's go downstairs to Quint Kessner. Quint?
Defense under reconstruction. You're going to see a major facelift of this Auburn defense, and their defensive coordinator, Will Muschamp, is going to mix up the cards. You're going to see 5 new defensive starters. He has demoted his top 3 tacklers, who have combined for 61 starts. He will start 2 true freshmen in the secondary following that LSU debacle, saying it was an embarrassing effort. Featured loafing, missed assignments, poor tackling. We have to change the culture of the defense. He's hoping that new personnel equals new results.
Well, when you talk about wholesale changes, you're right, Quint. There have been major ones when you talk about the people that have been shifted around and out of their positions from the previous week. Gus Malzahn sensing that this is a rare and special moment, a tipping point of sorts, and the fans here aware as well.
Well, and Gus Malzahn told us one of the most important things is that right there, getting the crowd on his side, on his team's backing right off the bat, given all that's happened the last week.
Mississippi State winning the toss, deferring to the second half. Bell kicking off for the Bulldogs, and we are underway. Jonathan Ford takes a knee, and he'll come out to the 25-yard line. First down and 10 for Sean White, making his first career start. Going to be taking his first collegiate snap. He was the MVP of the Under Armour All-America game, a very prestigious game, and the MVP of the 2014 Elite 11.
Well, don't get it twisted about those awards, because he was the last guy invited to both those events, Elite 11 and the Under Armour game. He has been an underdog. He was not expected to be where he is tonight, and that is the starting quarterback for Auburn.
First down and 10. Hands it off to Peyton Barber on the first play. And Barber picks up about a yard. How nervous do you think this young man is right now, Rod? You've played football. You've worn the helmet. What's going through his head right now?
Well, I watched him in warm-ups, and he was throwing the ball pretty nicely, but you could just feel or sense his heart beating so hard in his chest. I know mine felt like, oh, man, how do I play this game?
Second and 9 for Sean White. Hands it off to Barber again, plowing forward between the tackles. Tough sledding to pick up a couple more yards. There's a look at Jeremy Johnson, the former QB #1. And Gus Malzahn said that, you know, he took it like a team player, and he'll be rooting for Sean White from the sidelines.
And right now, he's hoping that Sean White gets off to a good start. 3rd and 6. There might be pressure. Got to give him something that makes him comfortable.
Got to get out to the 35-yard line. White sets to pass and drills a dart complete for the first down to Duke Williams, #1.
There's a guy who's been missing from the Auburn offense. He's the guy that a lot of folks expected to be an All-American, and he had 7 catches on the season coming into tonight.
See how much chemistry White can establish here with these receivers who have been waiting to eat. Little play fake. White escapes harm's way temporarily, and then sacked back at the 32-yard line. Good heat up front from Zach Johnson.
Well, you know, Jonesy, he's not the typical Auburn quarterback you've seen with Nick Marshall, Cam Newton. He's not going to run around. He's a pocket passer, and Mississippi State knows that. They go right after him, knocks him around. See how he bounces back from his first sack.
2nd and 15. That's the 2nd sack of the season for Brown. Johnson sets in the backfield. Around the edge. Johnson on the carry. Kerryon Johnson is a player that they're excited to have on the field. True freshman picks up another first down. Calhoun made a stop. 17-yard gain, and this Auburn offense, when they're picking up first downs, they can be lethal because then they get into their tempo run.
They only run 62 plays a game. That's far below their average. They want to be over 70.
White gives it to Johnson again, breaks a couple tackles, and Johnson picks up about 8 yards. Kevon Coleman making the tackle.
You know, Jonesy, there are a couple things that stand out about this offense, and that's pace and the ability to get big plays. And they've struggled with that this season. And a lot of that's because of the quarterback spot. Now, Jeremy Johnson gets a lot of heat, but a lot of folks are involved in that, but they have not made big plays. They don't get first down, so they can't turn up the heat, turn up the pace.
Well, Gus Malzahn telling us they need more productivity out of the tailback position right now as well. They hand it off. Barber picks up the first down. Picks up 5 on the play, and they move the chains again. Let's take a look at Auburn's plans for success, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual.
Well, when they're doing it right, they get about 9 or so explosive plays a game, runs more than 12 yards, and passes more than 15. They want to get the tempo and pace up over 70 plays a game, and defense, show up, be aggressive, tackle somebody. Fournette's not out there tonight.
Boy, is he something special. They set up the little receiver screen. Pass complete to Melvin Ray, and Ray picks up another first down at the 29 of Mississippi State.
You know, Jonesy, you heard the guys on SportsCenter this morning talking, SportsCenter and Game Day, talking about Auburn having a chip on their shoulder, coming out with a lot of enthusiasm, making guys miss tackles and the like because they're in such a desperate way. And so far, absolutely right. They're playing with a lot of emotion.
This drive started on their own 25. They're at the Mississippi State 29. Little end around to give us to Truitt. And Truitt is going to be stopped up way back at the 34 by Trevez Calhoun. He was the first Bulldog to get there. That's going to be a loss of 5 on the play.
Well, you like a guy who's willing to get a little dirty. The quarterback's trying to get out there in front of a big old guy. A.J. Jefferson goes about 270. Really? You're going to block me?
Well, White is he's put on 20 pounds, believe it or not, since he's got
You think that's going to work?
He's 3 for 3 passing so far for 36 yards. 2nd and 15. Sets and fires. And it got there. Wow. Almost intercepted. It hung for a while. Instead, it's a 22-yard gain to Marcus Davis.
Oh, Will Redmond is absolutely sick right now. He's the corner on that side, and watch him mistime his jump. That ball's right there. He knows he mistimes his jump, and it's a completion. He is just sick, and White is ecstatic.
Andy Diaz, the defensive coordinator for the Bulldogs, shaking his head right now. Barber on the carry. And he's brought down after a gain of 1 on the play. This Mississippi State Bulldog defense had a load of seniors last year, but they return a good number of players defensively.
Yeah, they do. A lot of guys, and Dan Mullen believes in playing a lot of players, but they're on their heels right now. You see a rotation of the defensive line right now, getting a couple of other guys in there.
So the guys breathing heavily up front. This is the 12th play of the Auburn drive. Kerryon Johnson in the backfield behind Sean White. A little pressure, and White takes off. Brought down at about the 5. He picked up 6 on the play. Kendrick Market.
He is a calm and cool customer. He recognized right away that there was pressure up the field and that he had a lane. And the coaches have talked all week about how they didn't think the moment would be too big for him, that he's shown poise in everything he's done on the football field.
Shown that he can run a little bit too. 3rd and 3, Barber in the backfield. White picked off at the 2-yard line by Will Redmond. He missed the last one, but he gets this one, as surely it lands right in his mitts. And that's his 2nd interception of the season.
One of the hardest things for a quarterback to do is roll to his right and throw back across the middle. It is a mistake that a lot of youngsters make, that veterans know you cannot do this. There's danger across the middle. And you're moving away from your target, and Redmond is right there. He never saw him. And how about Redmond? Good for him, bouncing back.
And Redmond telling his coaches, hey, it's always better the second time around. Back after this. Back at Jordan-Hare Stadium here at Auburn University. 1st and 10 for Mississippi State from their own 21-yard line after that interception a moment ago. Dak Prescott in at quarterback out of the shotgun. Throws the completion for a first down out to the 34-yard line to Donald Gray. Check that, Fred Brown picks up 12.
You are looking at Prescott, the best quarterback in the history of Mississippi State football.
A very impressive resume, which includes 21 different school records. 2 for 2 now passing the football. And another big play deep into Auburn territory. They're going to mark it close to the 35-yard line. Malik Deer.
Malik Deer, 5'9", 220, just out of the backfield. Just a little slip screen. And what a tremendous block out there on the right side.
And there is a flag.
Yeah.
Yep. This one's going to come back.
Here's Dan Mullen, led Mississippi State to unprecedented heights last season, actually being #1 at one point during the season.
Last year's National Coach of the Year. 1st and 20 after the penalty. Over the boundary and nowhere to go. Cade Miles picks up 2 on the play.
Jonesy, that holding call took away a really big play, and you see Dak Prescott come out firing. That is very typical for Mississippi State. They like to come out on first down and early in the ball game throwing the football.
Handed off to Brandon Holloway, one of their faster backs, and he picks up the first down out of the 44-yard line. Gains 11 on the play. And there's a look at Holloway. They'll change backs. Him, Shumpert. Deer has already gotten a carry. This time he splits out as a receiver. Empty formation for Dak Prescott. And another completion to Fred Brown, and Brown picks up about 7. Well, Dak Prescott decided to come back to school, and that's a good thing for the Bulldogs. Talked about the 21 different school records. He hasn't thrown an interception in 150 consecutive passes. And he is the unquestioned leader of this offense. Has Shumpert wide open there and finds him out of the backfield. Shumpert tiptoes across the 40 to the 39. Dinson pushing him out of bounds. Picks up 9.
You mentioned Prescott coming back, and that's an example of why. Mullen has talked to him about taking the easy throw, the routine play, dumping the ball off.
Does it again here, Rod. Completes it to Fred Ross, who had a couple blockers in front of him. So you're talking about the subtleties of the game before he goes next level?
Everybody knows he can make the spectacular play, but it's the play sitting in the pocket when you don't have a receiver downfield. Instead of taking off, dumping it off like the NFL quarterbacks do.
And a short completion again to Fred Ross, and Frost tiptoes out of bounds. They're going to mark it just beyond the first down marker. Let's go downstairs to Quint.
Mark, 2 things we've seen so far from Mississippi State. They love to throw the ball on first down. They lead the SEC 55% tossing it on first down, and they love to throw to their running backs, which basically equates to a running play out of the backfield.
A lot of high percentage stuff so far for Prescott. Shumpert behind him takes the handoff. Prescott trying to get out in front of him, but couldn't block the defenders. That's Countess. Blake Countess makes the tackle. Countess, Quint talked about the changes last week. Countess was a starting cornerback last week, now starting at safety, making the stop.
Hello, defense.
Loss of 4 on the play.
Countess, a Michigan transfer, and they count him as one of the more reliable players in that defense so far this season.
Sets up a 2nd and 14. Brandon Holloway back in the backfield, number 10 for the Bulldogs. Prescott on the play action, downfield, has a man, touchdown! Gabe Miles with the catch. Dak Prescott has now thrown a touchdown in 18 consecutive games. Rod, you talked about the subtleties and the touch pass. Exhibit A.
In the pocket, a beautifully thrown ball, looking off the safety, looking to the left, and then coming back to the right to find Gabe Miles in the slot, right down the seam.
The extra point good. Miles with his 2nd touchdown catch of the season. And it all started with that interception that was brought out to the 21-yard line by Will Redmond. And this is how they cashed in. Dakota Prescott. And the Bulldogs are on the board first here at Auburn.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Coca-Cola, Open Happiness, and BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
Welcome back, everyone, to Auburn University. A 10-play, 79-yard drive using 3:15 on the clock, and Mississippi State leading 7-0. Defensive coordinator Will Muschamp talking to his defense after they were eviscerated on 7 for 7 passing by Dak Prescott. Not all of it on the secondary, but Prescott still impressive, moving his team 79 yards downfield. This is Jonathan Ford, and he's going to have it come out to the 25. Rod, what was the key on that touchdown?
Well, a little confusion back there in the secondary. If you take a look, you'll see Miles is right here. Here's Trey Matthews. Watch what happens here. He looks like he's looking at the slot guy. Now he gets his eyes back here, and look at Dak looking off everyone that way. He gets mesmerized, and Miles takes off down the field right by Matthews. And at the end of the play, the safety on the other side looks at Matthews like, hey, your guy, what are you doing? Remember, they made a lot of changes on defense this week.
Significant ones, and they fumble it here. Marcus Davis fortunate enough to have it bounce back to him, but another negative play on 1st down for Auburn. And you look into the eyes of this quarterback, Sean White, making his first collegiate start, having to play from behind here, Rod. Is that a big deal or not at this stage?
I don't know that the 7-0 is. I think the fact that he threw a pick and now he's 2nd and 18 is problematic. How does he handle this? That's the issue. And how much do they trust him to put the ball up?
Loss of 8 on that play. Barber in the backfield behind Sean White.
This Mississippi State defense tries to take away the deep play.
Handed off to Barber, made one guy miss. And a nice run before Coleman finally made the tackle on the play. Barber, their leading rusher, coming into the game with 274 yards, picked up 11 there. 3rd down coming up, and Mississippi State's defense #1 in the SEC against teams on 3rd down.
Well, Manny Diaz is very, very good at making sure that you don't get the big play. You see 2 high safeties back. They're back there to make sure they take away deep passes. They will play a 2 deep or 3 deep behind that.
White to pass. Completes it to Smith, but he stopped short of that 1st down by about 1.5 yards. So there, as we mentioned, the Bulldog defense, #1 in the SEC on 3rd down, comes through there. And 4th down coming out. And the punting team coming in for Auburn.
You know, Jonesy, Malzahn said before he needed the crowd behind the team, and he needed to do something early to get them going. And this crowd is becoming a little bit unsettled. A little bit of booing, not widespread, but we heard a little bit of it.
You listen to some of the local talk radio here this week, and some of the people on the streets of Auburn, Alabama, and you'd think that the city was on fire
Paul
Team's
Feinbaum
2-1.
show blew up this week.
It sure did. Tammy, can you hear us?
Chiefs Packers at 8:15 Monday.
Kevin Phillips punting to Fred Ross, number 8 there for the Bulldogs. 4th down and 1 coming up for Auburn as they are stymied offensively, a 3 and out. The Tigers trailing 7-0 as Mississippi State went down the field on their first possession and scored a touchdown. Meanwhile, Sean White, making his first start ever, moved his team downfield on the first possession of the ball game and subsequently threw an interception at the 2-yard line.
Got away with one earlier that Will Redmond missed time to jump on, but he came back and got the pick inside the 5 later.
A high punt. And Ross fields it cleanly at the 32-yard line. A 34-yard punt. Dak Prescott on the field when we come back.
Hi, I'm Peyton Manning. And
Nothing in Auburn's loss against LSU draw the ire of Tammy on Paul Feinbaum's radio show.
I ain't done nothing in this house in 2 days. I ain't washed no clothes. I ain't done no dishes. And I told my husband to fend for himself. And I said, no, I don't care if he has to fend for himself again today. He has to fend for himself again today.
Well, hold on. I mean, what do you mean, fend for himself? What does that mean?
I told me I could fix his supper tonight. I don't care. I'm not going to fix it because I ain't getting out of this bed.
Tammy, a well-known, well-renowned, passionate football fan, a regular caller, and Rod, the tag to that story is that her husband is back.
He's back in the house,
right?
yeah, and I think he got dinner too. But fans around these parts were totally distraught after LSU put a whooping on Auburn last Saturday. I guess Leonard Fournette did.
Yes. Some of the passionate fan base here at Auburn University. 1st and 10 for Mississippi State. Wilson on the fly sweep. Tripped a little bit with nobody near him. And then tiptoes out of bounds at the 42. Picks up 5 on the play as we take a look at the impact players. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, Jonesy, we got some guys that like to wear number 1. Duranya Wilson, big guy, big in the red zone. Chris Jones has got to have a big game inside. Outstanding defensive player. And Duke Williams, we told you about him, what he's got to do. And Adams has been challenged by Muschamp to play better this week.
He's a preseason all-conference player. This is Holloway. Turns those shoulder pads north-south and gets the first down out near midfield.
Holloway goes at about 160, 165 pounds. When he's on the field, it's typically to get him to the outside, throw him the ball, or hand it to him on a sweep. Not typically in there to provide any pass protection blocking.
What do you got against small guys?
I like small guys. I am a small guy.
Prescott playing big. Oh, what a catch on the sidelines. Complete at the 30-yard line. Wilson with an amazing circus grab.
He was Mr. Basketball in Alabama. And take a look at that. Now, they blow the whistle to take a look at that play. The ball was snapped, but they were trying to get it stopped, and it looks like that left arm of his might have landed out of bounds before he came down.
Boy, Rod, he had to twist and contort his body to make a spectacular grab. Wow.
Watch the left arm.
Replay has been initiated.
That's the left arm. So first part of his body out of bounds is that left arm. That's going to be overruled.
This play is now under review.
Remember, you have to have clear and convincing evidence, essentially, to overturn a call. The one thing I question is, can we see his left leg? Well, clear. His left leg was in the air. It was that left arm, left hand out of bounds.
If the leg would have touched
first
before the arm, he'd have been okay.
He'd have been okay. But if you see it from this angle, watch. Left arm out, and the leg is still in the air.
Right.
That's pretty
definitive
right?
to
to me, yeah. I think that's going to allow the replay officials to overturn it.
Heck of a grab, though, by Duranya Wilson.
Mr. Basketball from
Yeah.
Alabama.
They didn't play
Pops.
football until his junior year, actually his senior year in high school. And some people kind of compare him to a Kelvin Benjamin type.
What do you
with
call
his size.
small forwards who don't have a jump shot?
A
Tight ends.
Tight
Wide
end.
receivers.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you can hit that three or the mid-range jumper. Wilson with a sweet catch a moment ago, but will it stand? The play under review right now. It would be a 23-yard gain if it stands.
Well, usually when it takes this long, they're trying to make sure they mark the original line of scrimmage correctly and the like. Otherwise, why take so long here? That looked pretty clear to me.
Benjamin, a 6'5" junior from Birmingham, Alabama. Dan Mullen, known for his offensive prowess in his days as a coordinator, Florida Gators, and Urban Meyer staff.
Yeah, and he's trying to sway the officials. He doesn't realize the guys in the booth are making the call, not the ones on the field.
He's working the wrong guys right now. But this taking an inordinate amount of time.
Well, having seen the replay system for a number of years now, I think you agree with me that for it to take this long, it's not about whether he caught the ball in bounds or not. It is about where the down and distance is. That's the only reason for it to take this long.
And, you know, here at Auburn University, they've got one of the biggest scoreboards in the country where you can see the replays, and they are playing it several times.
It is not a catch. The receiver does control the ball, but his left hand first touches out of bounds. The ball be placed back at the 37-yard line. It will be 2nd and 10. Mississippi State.
So, yes, they do bring it back, and they're going to spot it at the 47. After all that, just an incomplete pass.
Well, and an opportunity for Auburn to get some life back. This is a critical third down for them. Down 7-0, second down. They just moved the marker back to second down. This is a critical series for them. If Mississippi State goes up now and gets another score out of this drive, the way this team has had, to deal with things, and the crowd was getting on them early, they can't afford to give up another score here.
The crowd kind of feels it too.
Oh, yeah.
Prescott keeps it himself, and he gets rocked right at midfield as we send it back to Chris Cotter in the studio.
Mark Rod, time for the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive update. We go to A&M and Arkansas. Kyle Allen finding Christian Kirk. What a dynamic freshman this young man is. He takes it to the house, 10-7 right now. A&M on top, guys.
3rd and 7. Prescott goes through his progression. One-on-one, Shumpert driving those legs, but he's going to be stopped up short. And that is what Muschamp is talking about. Tackling with passion.
That's
Chris Frost making the
Frost,
stop.
one of the guys that Muschamp benched. And he challenged the defense to be more physical, and Frost came up and got physical, and now they've got a 4th down here. They need to stop.
They're going to go for it on 4th down. On the play clock. Looks like they're going to try and draw him offside. It won't work. Good discipline by the Tiger defense.
Well, Muschamp ought to be happy. He's got to be pleased with that stop and with that 3rd down performance by Chris Frost.
Chris Frost, one of those guys that was demoted, Rod. One of several guys in the secondary and then on the defense. How do you usually take that as a player? I mean, what do your teammates say to you when they know that you've been first string and now second string, and what goes on in your mind?
Well, the eye in the sky really doesn't lie. The film says if you're not hustling, and so he's owning up to it.
Logan Cook with the punt. This one travels all the way to the end zone.
You know, since Frost owned it and accepted the demotion and came out and played hard and made plays like that. Now you'll see Muschamp put his arm around him. That's what I need out of you. Inspire your teammates. That's why I benched you. This is the way you can play every single play.
And that was a big tackle a moment ago, and there he is.
Love the way he's responding. Love that. That's leadership over there.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Sean White in on this 3rd series offensively for Auburn. Peyton Barber, the lone back. There's Barber. Stopped up by Gary Green. 22 seconds to go in the end of the 1st quarter. Sean White, a redshirt freshman from University School in Davie, Florida, right in between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. Threw for 30 touchdowns in high school, but this is a different level. This is SEC football.
That is the end of the first
and under
quarter.
the searing hot lights, you might want to take some notes from that guy on the other side of the field at some point. 7-0 at the end of the first 15 minutes. As Sean White threw a critical, pivotal pick on his opening drive, which led to this touchdown catch. And the Bulldogs lead when we come back for the 2nd quarter.
The ingredients for a better football season?
The college football playoff.
Under the lights at Auburn University, it's 7-0 Mississippi State leading the Tigers as we come back for the start of the 2nd quarter. We have a new quarterback in the ball game for the Tigers. It's Jonathan. No, it's not Jonathan Wallace. He's lined up in the game. And the handoff, meanwhile, goes to Kerryon Johnson.
But you bring up a good point, Jonesy, which is the quarterback spot and trying to get productivity out of the running game, and that's not really White's forte. We expect to see either Jason Smith or Jonathan Wallace at the quarterback spot. This is a far cry from what you saw out of the quarterback spot with Cam Newton and Nick Marshall. They ran the quarterback. They want this guy, White, to throw it.
White, the quarterback. Hands it off to Johnson.
That is Kerryon Johnson, the 2015 high school Mr. Alabama running back.
They got a bunch of them on that offensive side of the ball, huh?
Well, they come here or they go to Alabama, by and large.
From the 30-yard line. Williams, the inside receiver, to the bottom of your screen. They're going to run it off tackle. Peyton Barber with nowhere to go, and there's a flag down at the 27-yard line. What do you make of the tempo of the game so far? This is going to go against.
Hands to the face. Number 56 of the offense. Penalties half the distance to the goal line. First down.
What do you make of the tempo of the game so far for Auburn offensively? That's one of the keys and one of our planning for success variables.
I think Malzahn likes the tempo his teams had. They've run a lot more plays than they have the first few games. They're on a good pace now to get to the 70+ that he'd like. But they've had an issue, down in the red zone. Here's what they've done in the past. I mean, they've been over 70 plays per game historically, but only 62 on average in their first 3 games.
Let's go down to Quint for more.
Auburn's predicated on first down success, and especially using the entire width of the field, where they get your big guys running from sideline to sideline. You get tired, and then comes the avalanche.
Quint right now, we've got a couple backs in there, Barber and Johnson. This is Barber on the carry. And a decent gain out to the 20-yard line, picked up 5. Rod, you told me before when we were watching film, there's a lot of dressing and window dressing on those running plays, right?
Yeah. The whole idea behind that is to get the linebackers and defensive backs to look at something other than what's really going on. A simple run play, but hey, here's a guy going that way. Hey, the quarterback is spinning out. It's window dressing, eye candy to make you look elsewhere, much like a magician would want you to do.
Well, Barber already running 7 times for 28 yards. On 2nd down, White. Little receiver screen, juggled but caught by Melvin Ray. And brought down after a gain of 4. Let's go down to Quint for more.
Mark, the other thing we're seeing from Auburn is substitutions after almost every play. Now, in the past, covering Auburn, they'd leave their receivers in the game and get some rhythm and get some flow. Here you see another substitution as they bring in Cox, their H-back. It's been almost every play with 2 or 3 substitutes, which has slowed their tempo.
Yeah, it's a good point, Q. I think part of it is getting the reps or the works with guys that historically have worked with White in practice on the second team.
Davis in motion to the top of the screen. Three on the play clock. They just get the snap off in time. White wide open at the 29. Caught by Chandler Cox, who just came into the ball game as documented a moment ago, and not going to be enough for the first down. They'll have to punt.
Yeah, I think Cleveland is down. Orlando Cleveland made that tackle.
He came in with his head down too, Rod.
Yeah, I think he hit him left shoulder first, but there may have been some incidental helmet contact between the two of them. You see he goes right down. There's the left shoulder, but the helmets also do collide.
A violent collision on the sideline, and Cleveland going to sit this next play out.
He is their nickel back, the 5th defensive back out there to help them in important role on passing downs.
Phillips punting. Fred Ross perched at his own 25-yard line. Phillips gets off a high pump. Ross all the way back to the 17. Nice sidestep, but then stepped out of bounds at about the 22, so it's a 5-yard return on a 49-yard punt. Prescott back on the field when we come back. And folks, ESPN College Football number 19, USC looking to get back on track in a conference road test with Arizona State tonight at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN. And a must-win game of sorts for the Trojans. Yeah.
Oh, they lose, they're done.
Hey, what about the Cardinal last week? Your alma mater goes into LA and gets turned.
And Corvallis last night. Yeah, but SC, if they lose, they're 2 games down in that divisional race. They cannot lose or they're done.
Prescott all day to throw and finds his receiver. That's Wilson. Wilson picks up 6 on the play. His second catch of the night. Second down and 4. Empty formation, 5 receivers. Incomplete. In and out of the arms once again of Wilson.
It's on Dak. That's behind him. I mean, I'm sure Wilson will tell you he should catch it, but that ball's behind him. That's the first pass we've seen from Prescott that was off target.
See if the Auburn defense can get off the field here on 3rd and 4.
This is usually Dak's time. He's pretty clutch on 3rd down, and he's going to keep it or throw it.
Looking to pass over the middle, complete. And right at the first down marker, Malik Deer makes the catch. And given the spot, looks like he's got enough for the first down.
You know, Jonesy, we talk about the good quarterbacks, the ones who perform in the clutch. And Dak Prescott has been pretty good in the clutch for his team. You see this 3rd and 4, tall in the pocket, waiting for his receiver to clear. And then you see it looks like he's right at our marker.
Yeah, they're going to measure here, Rod. You know, Prescott, you mentioned his passing. He's 11 of 13, Rod. In the last couple of games against Auburn, he's run the ball for over 100 yards. What do you make of the dearth of running attempts so far? He's only run it once in this game so far.
I think they're trying to set up the passing game, which is kind of typical for them. But, you know, he's a clutch performer. And by clutch, we're talking about 3rd down, red zone, last 2 minutes. And he's been really good at that.
First and 10. Prescott overthrows his receiver on the play, Fred Ross.
You know, you talk about the really good quarterbacks getting it done when it matters. Clutch QBR rating. That means how do you perform on third down in the red zone in the last 2 minutes of a half of a game, a close game in the fourth quarter. Our analytics department digs up these numbers, and he's 78%. That's on a scale of 100. He's pretty good.
Second and 10. Completes the pass onto the 37 to Gus Wally. So his percentage, what was 78, you said? 79%?
Yeah.
In terms of a national average?
Yeah.
That's a good number?
Yeah, that rates him at about 39th, but 70, you're about 80%. Now, by comparison, you know, Jeremy Johnson was well below 20%.
Interesting. Third and 5. Oh, they get to the edge with Holloway with that speed, and Holloway might have been hit late.
Flag.
No flag thrown. Oh, there is a flag. And, oh, it's a flag for holding.
Clear penalty. Third down.
Wow. Well, then they missed the one on the sidelines, because typically you tackle a guy out of bounds. There's been a heavy concern about injuries to players because there's so many people on the sideline. And you tackle a guy out of bounds, you're going to get flagged, but that one didn't get flagged.
They're going to bring this one all the way back to the 26. So that 16-yard gain wiped out.
This is third and forever. This will challenge you.
Prescott rolls out. Drills one complete. And enough for the first down. This forward progress is going to be at the 45. Fred Ross, again, maybe the most improved player. That's what Dak Prescott will tell you from the start of camp to now.
And a little help from Dak. Again, we talked about clutch. Third and 15. He's delivering again. That's why his number is pretty good.
And his offensive line giving him time again, Rod. The catch made and the run after catch by Fred Ross. Another missed tackle, this one by Frost, Quint.
Yeah, Mark, you pointed out the work of this offensive line has been dramatic today. You go back to their loss against LSU. Inexperienced groups struggled, especially against the blitz. Today they've got it cleaned up.
Enough to gain 18 on that last play. Prescott sits in the pocket. Caught, but might have been out of bounds. Incomplete, intended for Fred Brown.
You know, Quint's point is well taken. I don't think Muschamp can continue to sit back like this. They're going to have to bring some pressure. Does he get this one? Catch, foot in bounds, right foot out. Huh. But did he have possession when that left foot was down, or was the ball just coming in his hand? Looks like that's not going to be replayed.
Yeah, they're not looking at it.
Nope.
Holloway motions out of the backfield, makes the reception. And maybe they are going to look at it.
Replay has been initiated from the booth. The previous play is now under video review.
That's what happens when you want to play fast. You know, officials got to keep up.
I think the replay officials are finding that this up-tempo is really messing with their routine of trying to get a look at things.
He might have had it, Rod, with that left foot.
It's the left foot you have to look at. And so the question is, does he have possession control with the left foot down?
This is a better
There's the
angle.
left foot. Hands on the ball. It looks like he's got that to me.
That looks like a catch at the
Now
16-yard line.
remember, you need indisputable video evidence. Can you definitively tell that his foot, his toe is on the ground? That looks like that's on the ground. Check out that left foot.
For a split second, it looked like he had it.
I think he had it. I think that's a catch. He did not bobble the ball while his foot was on the ground. Got two hands on it, wrapped it. Looked like he had it securely. I think that's a catch.
This play under official review. And Dak Prescott getting a moment with his head coach, Dan Mullen. And boy, Prescott already putting up some awesome numbers on the day. Passing, he's 14 of 18 for 142 yards and a touchdown pass already.
Well, I think he likes playing Auburn. I mean, we talked about coming into this game. He had 5 touchdowns, 4 on the ground. Had more than 250 yards rushing in 2 games.
Well, he's a graduate student working on his master's.
After video review, it is a catch. Receiver's able to control the ball, get a left foot inbounds, and main possession all the way to the ground. The ball will be placed at the 16-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10.
Fred Brown saying, don't doubt me. 21-yard gain on the play. And they move it down to the 16-yard line. It'll be 1st down and 10 for the Bulldogs.
Jonesy, red zone area. You want to get touchdowns at least 75% of the time or better.
And you pointed out Prescott's glowing clutch statistic. On 1st and 10, little pressure, pass incomplete, and Prescott took a hit back at the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Pass intended for Wally.
It's the first time there's been any heat. A little blitz coming from the outside, a little late on by Trey Williams. Talked about Muschamp needed to dial up some heat.
Out of the backfield, that's Miles, Gabe Miles. And once again, for the 2nd consecutive play, Trey Williams making an ascension. Rising to the occasion, a loss of 1.
He's one of the guys that got into the starting lineup in the overhaul of the defense this week. You'll see him show up, get off a block, speed in there, and make the play. And Muschamp has gone with a little bit more pressure down here to try and keep Mississippi State out of the end zone.
Brandon Holloway in the backfield on 3rd and 11. They got to get down to the 6-yard line. Ross in motion. Prescott looks the other way. Little contact. Touchdown, Bulldogs. Wilson shushing the crowd.
Jonesy, check out the end of the play. Watch these 2 guys as they go at it. You got the freshman Davis working against Wilson, and Wilson is a big man at 6'5", about 225, and he was able to kind of shake off Davis, who's about 185 pounds. And you're talking about a basketball player.
Yeah. That's a post-up.
Yeah, it's a post-up move.
And a 17-yard touchdown catch, his 2nd of the season, the 14th of Williams' career. And as he went into the end zone, he had a little message to the sellout crowd here at Auburn. He makes the catch and then index finger over said mouth, saying, folks, keep it down, keep it down.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
Tell you what, the Bulldogs barking loud right now. Touchdown catch by Darunya Wilson, making it a 14-0 game. And both Mississippi State touchdowns have come after 79-yard drives. Prescott, he may not own this place, but he might have a lease on it right now. 16 of 20 passing, 180 yards, and a couple of touchdown tosses. 8:02 to go in the first half. From the 2-yard line, it's Jonathan Ford. Ford with some good extra effort out to the 24-yard line. Rod, what kind of clues or tip-offs do you see in this play here?
Well, Jonesy, we've got a smart veteran quarterback. He sees what looks like a little blitz, right? He wants to confirm it. He uses some motion to check the coverage, and now he gets it. That tap right there, he's telling his receiver, man-to-man, Wilson, run a fade. I know the blitz is coming. I'll get it to you. And he delivers. That is a smart veteran quarterback who recognizes defenses and adjusts his receivers to make a big play.
Well, he's pressing all the right buttons so far tonight. Kerryon Johnson in the backfield. Sean White out of the backfield hits him. Johnson stays on his feet. for a 4-yard gain as we go back to the studio.
Guys, time for a Taco Bell studio update. Great start out in the desert. First possession of the game for Arizona. Anu Solomon finds Nate Phillips. Look at this catch. Oh, a nice grab for the score. So Arizona up 7-0, but here comes Josh Rosen finding Thomas Duarte. One-handed grab himself. He takes it in 7-7 over on ABC.
All right, Chris, back here, a flag down on the field.
Substitution on the offense. 12-man formation. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
A lot of elimination games tonight, or at least some leverage games. That UCLA-Arizona loser will be in dire straits. The USC-Arizona State game. If SC loses that game, bye-bye. And we've got an elimination game here.
Both teams coming in 0-1 in conference play. And if you're just joining us, Sean White getting his first start of the night in place of Jeremy Johnson, who started the first 3 games of the season for the Tigers. Johnson had thrown an inordinate amount of interceptions, had 6 picks against just 5 touchdown tosses, and it could have been more too.
That 6, as we watch film, that 6 could have been 10.
2nd and 11. White hands it off to Johnson. Johnson on the loose. And a great open field tackle by Brandon Bryant. Picked up 11 on the play.
Critical time for Auburn. They've been living on the edge. First quarter, game almost got away. They made a defensive stop. Right now they're down 2 scores and they haven't reached the end zone. They had a turnover in their opening drive. They have to have something positive happen. The crowd senses it. They're silent.
As they measure for this first down, Rod, what do you make of the performance of Sean White so far? What kind of grade would you give him? I know there's still a lot of football left, but we've played a quarter and more than a half already.
I think he's been okay. I think the opening drive, he was really good. The pick was a problem. And then since then, he really hasn't had a chance to get going. They've been behind the chains with losses on first down, but he's 8 of 9 for 82 yards. He can really throw the football. We were down on the field watching him in warm-ups, and he can spin it.
At University School in South Florida. Ran the same system that they run here at Auburn. Handoff is to Peyton Barber. Barber refusing to go down. They're going to give him close to 5 yards. Actually, they'll give him 6. So between Barber, we haven't seen or said much about Rock Thomas tonight. Johnson and Barber have gotten the majority of the carries. Rock Thomas was another one of those former Mr. Football in the state of Alabama, but he hasn't gotten many touches yet. None at all, actually.
Yeah, and he's one of the guys that can give you big plays, big rushing plays. But Kerryon Johnson can do that too, and they've been going more and more to Johnson.
This is Barber getting to the edge. And he picks up the first down before Brandon Bryant makes the tackle after the gain of 6. How badly does Auburn have to score on this drive?
I think they really need something out of this drive. Not just for themselves, but for their psyche, for the psyche of their fans. And the problem is Mississippi State won't give up the deep pass. You know, they want to cut loose, but they're sitting back there with a couple of safeties saying, you know what, we'll come up, but you're not throwing one over our heads.
First down and 10. Barber in motion, now sets. Takes the handoff and another nice gain. Picks up about 5. You know, this Bulldog defense under Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator who was at Louisiana Tech last year, he's got some history against Auburn, and it seems to be paying off, at least here in the first half.
He likes to prevent the deep play, and then he likes to be aggressive to stop the run on the edges. And Auburn right now is trying to run it inside and force him to bring another guy into the box to stop the run so they can throw it down the field.
Truitt in motion. He takes the fly sweep. And another open field tackle on the play by Kendrick Market. And Market is going to have to come off the field for a play because he lost his helmet on that 10-yard gain. There's a look at Manny Diaz, the defensive coordinator, erstwhile of Louisiana Tech, before that with Texas, and our colleague Mac Brown.
Said he learned an awful lot with his experience at Texas after he was fired there. He said he had to spend some time soul searching and realize, you know what, I got to be committed to what I really believe in, and it's preventing the big play and being aggressive on rundowns on first down.
This is Curion Johnson. No, interesting story about Manny Diaz. His father was the mayor of Dade County for a long time. So I told you, I got friends in high places too, Rob. You're not the only one.
Yeah. Did you have to make any political contributions for that, that little help there?
I'm not good at writing checks. 2nd down and 8. His father now practicing private law. 2nd down and 8. His defense bringing law and order to the grid right now. Barber in the backfield, joined by Johnson. And White completes the pass to Johnson out at the 25. They helped him up after he picked up 10. Trevez Calhoun pushing him out of bounds. And this is the deepest, or the 2nd time they've been this deep.
Well, the last time they got down here, there was a pick.
Yep.
That was Redmond who picked off an errant pass by White. White will learn from that. He has to be careful down here. He can't run around and throw back across his body. And got to recognize the points are valuable. They need to get on the board down here.
Rock Thomas in the ball game for the first time. And he takes the handoff, gets to the edge, and has a blocker in front of him. Thomas pushed out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it, right around the 15. So a good gain on his first touch. He picks up 12.
You know, Jonesy, on the outside, Ryan Brown 48, and A.J. Jefferson 47 are big defensive ends. And this pace becomes a factor. And getting that speed to the edge kind of wears on them a little bit.
Barber now in the backfield. They're going to run it again into the boundary. Barber hurdled one would-be defender and landed at the 8-yard line, picked up 5.
How about Chandler Cox, the tight end H-back, leading the way, getting a good block out there. But again, working the edge, the perimeter, using their speed, making those big guys. Look at the hands on the hips of the players for Mississippi State down there.
Those guys up front a little winded. Runs in the secondary too. Barber's running 11 times for 50 yards. And another opportunity right up the gut. Barber's going to make it 1st and goal for Auburn. Evans finally making the tackle. A 7-yard gain. And this offense has finally found its rhythm. Going quick here. Barber. No signal. And they're going to mark him just short.
Well, Gus Malzahn knows that he's got that defense on the ropes. They are winded, and he's pounding them inside. Much like you got a boxer on the ropes, and you just keep pounding to the midsection.
Yeah, they're making a host of substitutions over there.
They need it. These guys are winded. They're blown.
13th play of this very methodical drive for the Tigers. Barber in the backfield still. White gives it to him, and he didn't get in. It's going to be 3rd down and goal for the Tigers. Zach Jackson making the tackle.
He's got 2 downs to pick up a yard. There is no question in my mind. They don't get it here. They line up and go for it on 4th down. With this crowd, this situation, the magnitude of this game.
And White comes out of the ball game. Got a new quarterback in there. It's going to be Jeremy Johnson, number 6.
He is a lot bigger. He's 6'5", 240. And if he's in there, it is to hand it off or run the football with his size and weight.
They got the jumbo formation. And the play was blown dead.
Prior to the snap, first charge timeout of the half, Mississippi State.
And Mississippi State calls a timeout. So Auburn has effectively shown its hand a little bit. We'll be back with 3rd and goal right after this.
Packers at 8:15.
Folks, don't miss any college football action while you're on the go today. Stream any game live. Download the Watch ESPN app or go to watchespn.com. Back to the action. 3rd down and goal for Auburn. Still trying to get on the scoreboard. 14th play of the drive coming up. And, Rod, they brought in Jeremy Johnson and lined up Braden Smith, the starting right guard, beside him in the backfield. What do you make of all that moving forward here?
Yeah, and they had Will Adams out there last time, too, a backup lineman who's 6'7", 300 pounds. I think they want to go heavy. They've been pounding this team. And look, 98. Yeah, they're bringing out a heavy set, but they changed quarterbacks. This is still a run formation with a lot of big guys in there.
White back in the ball game. Barber behind him. High snap. They blow it. Fumble. And Mississippi State forces a 4th down. Barber couldn't get a handle. He recovered it, and that changes everything now, Ron.
Jonesy, there are coaches all over the country screaming, this is why you are under center inside the 5-yard line. So you turn around and hand it off. You don't have to worry about that. But you're right. Now it's all about a field goal. You had 2 cracks to turn around and run the ball in there, and now it's a field goal.
Disbelief here in Auburn.
And Bristol Outback halftime report just around the corner. Robert Smith and Butch Davis will join me. We've got Leonard Fournette running wild yet again. Blowouts in the Big Ten, including the Buckeyes and Wolverines. And we'll go no huddle. Rapid fire highlights around the country. Coming up, Outback halftime report. We'll see you then.
All right, Chris, did somebody say no huddle? Look at one of the despondent Auburn fans after that blown 3rd and goal opportunity. Sets up this field goal attempt now by Daniel Carson. 3 for 3 this season. This one coming from 26 yards out. And Carlson misses it. So they come away with 0 points on the drive.
Oh, you might have to call 911 for some of these fans. Wow. Wow. Red zone performance, Jonesy. You get down there, you got to come away with points. This was in the 1st quarter. Sean White, rookie mistake, throws back across his body. Redmond picks that up. This is not on White. That's a bad snap. They weren't under center to try and pound it in. Snap over his head by the center. And then they missed the field goal. So 2 golden opportunities. They got nothing.
And a tough start for Sean White, the redshirt freshman, making his first start tonight. Shumpert runs it over the right side of the offensive line. And, boy, that really underscores the good timeout that Mississippi State called on 3rd down after Auburn had brought out Jeremy Johnson and kind of showed its hand a little bit, Rod, and it ends up, the drive blows up on the Tigers.
Yeah, they played every play, used the timeout. They were outmanned by the size of the extra tight ends and extra backs, and they called the timeout, and that ended up saving Mississippi State.
And the Bulldogs are going to go into the locker room leading 14-0, having won 2 of the last 3 meetings against the Auburn Tigers. Dak Prescott was near perfect in the first half. Sean White, the redshirt freshman, with a critical interception. Bulldogs lead at the half. Stay tuned for the Outback Steakhouse halftime report. And Quentin will have an interview with Coach Mullen right now. Back to the studio.
Let's have a house party. We don't need nobody. Turn your TV off. Break that boombox out. We'll wake up all the neighbors till the whole block hates us.
The Bulldogs trying to make it 3 out of the last 4 against Auburn. Welcome, everyone. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. In a pivotal game for Auburn and Mississippi State, the Bulldogs leading it 14-0. Both teams coming in 0-1 in conference play. Mark Jones, Rod Gilmore, Quinn Kesenick joining us on the sidelines in just a moment. The last time a 2-loss team won the SEC West was 2007. Rod, it's tough to win this division with 2 losses. How do you characterize what's facing Auburn right now?
This, as we said, is an elimination game. And right now, Auburn has 30 minutes left in their season. I mean, if they have any chance of making a run in the West, they've got to get things picked up, and they have been relying on their redshirt freshman quarterback, Sean White on the right side. You see 9 of 10. He's thrown the ball well, except for the pick in the red zone. That cost him some points. On the other side to the left, boy, Prescott has been the veteran we expected. He's been calm, cool, led his team on a couple of scoring drives. And that's what you expected from Dak Prescott, and that's what you've gotten.
He has had a lot of success against the Tigers the last couple times out. Mississippi State receiving the kick to begin the second half here. It comes down to Gabe Miles, or at least in the vicinity of Gabe Miles, as we have a flag down on the play. The ball goes out of bounds, and they'll bring it back out to the 35.
Kickoff out of bounds. Kicking team. Ball will be placed at 35-yard line. First down.
Let's go to Quinn.
Coach, as a play caller, what's the biggest challenge you're facing?
Well, we just self-destructed it. You know, we had the turnover on the 3-yard line the first drive. Down there on the 1-foot line, you know, our new center snapped it over his head. But, hey, we can move the football. We're getting in rhythm a little bit. We just need to not self-destruct once we get in.
Thank you.
That was Quint with Coach Malzahn a moment ago as Prescott keeps it. Picks up 2 yards just the second time he's run the ball tonight.
Jonesy, with all due respect, you've got to be under center on the 1-foot line.
Okay.
Shotgun. Ball goes over the quarterback's head. That's not his fault.
Another pivotal moment that went against the Tigers. Brandon Holloway in the backfield. Prescott delivers a strike, but it's dropped by Fred Brown, incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 9 coming up for Mississippi State. Let's go to Quint downstairs.
Auburn has no sacks in this ball game. They've only gotten to Dak Prescott one time off a blitz from Trey Williams, 30 in blue. Prescott's been clean. He's been able to set his feet. Auburn needs to generate some pressure without Carl Lawson.
Yeah, Quinn, they're afraid to blitz. They gave up a touchdown pass to Wilson the last time they brought pressure.
Prescott completes it for the first down inside Auburn territory to Fred Brown, who made that drop a moment ago, and a nice gain on the play of 17 yards.
Clutch, huh? We've seen him a number of times tonight deliver on 3rd and long. Prescott has been magnificent on 3rd down. He's been magnificent in the red zone. As you see, Trey Williams is down, and he's played really well tonight. They cannot afford to lose him on that Auburn defense.
Yeah, both he and Chris Frost, number 17, have had some good moments defensively for Auburn, and that is the underlying theme on the defensive side of the ball for the Tigers. So many changes defensively. Here's one more look at it. The tackle there by Trey Williams, a 6'2 sophomore, and being treated right now by the team's athletic training staff. We're going to take a short break and come back. Well, reigning league MVP Aaron Rodgers leading the Packers against Jamal Charles and the Chiefs. Chiefs-Packers, Monday night at 8:15 on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN.
He is a pretty good quarterback.
Hey, they got a good one at Cal right now, too, Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a look at Trey Williams being attended to on the sidelines for the Auburn Tigers. Williams is one of the guys who was promoted to starter at linebacker this week, one of a host of changes by Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator. Ashton Shumpert in the backfield. Takes the handoff and nowhere to go. Broke a tackle, but couldn't get away from the second wave. Stopped there by Trey Matthews, number 28, a loss of 2. What's up, Quint?
Mark, this defense is flying around and tackling much, much better. I just like the hop in their step. They're flying to the ball. They seem to be gap sound with their run fits. Their only issues early on are in the secondary.
2nd and 12. Prescott completes it. And no, it's dropped. Wow, that hit his receiver in the hands. Wilson should have caught that. That's the second drop that Prescott has had already here in the second half.
Yeah, he's been pretty good tonight. And I think Wilson's dropped 2. Both of them. But, you know, to follow up Quinn's point, Muschamp challenged this defense. He called them out, and he told them, if you don't play hard and tackle, you can't play here.
This is where Prescott has been clutch on third down conversions tonight. They got some pressure on him this time, but he makes the completion nonetheless. Wally is going to be stopped up short by about 3 yards. So 4th and 3 coming up, and Prescott staying on the field here.
Well, I know that Coach Mullen is tempted here to go for it, but I really think a team that's down, you kick this ball, pin them in, punt the ball away.
Fourth down, they're going for it. Well, they did this earlier, remember. They tried to draw Auburn off sides. 9 on the play clock. Wide open, Wally underneath. Gets the first down, he fumbles it. The ball comes loose, and Auburn recovers it. Jonathan Jones. And Will Muschamp's defense comes up with a huge play.
Well, it was a pick play that got Wally free. Watch him come across. There's a little rub off right there. He's free, but a great hit by Davis. Actually, it's Matthews who comes in and knocks the ball out. And how about Jones being Johnny on the spot?
Wow.
To pick it up.
Coming back the other way, first down and 10. And a little bit of motion up front.
Infraction. Number 73 offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
What do you think? Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator, was thrilled about that last result?
Yeah, well, he told us, hey, he slept pretty well. He's told these guys it's on them. Either you play hard or you don't play. And I'm sure he's pleased at the way they've been flying around. As Quint said, only a couple of mishaps in the secondary in the first half.
First and 15 after the penalty. Barber in the backfield. John White hands it off to Barber, still on his feet. A spirited run close to the first down. Got about 14 and a half.
For Auburn tonight, it's been about the rushing attack and not necessarily the quarterback play. They've only thrown it 10 times.
2nd and 1. White keeps it himself. Still on his feet. First down.
Is that Nick Marshall?
He just plays one on TV.
That is unexpected.
A 31-yard sprint by Sean White. Barber on the handoff. And once again, Barber with a good gain, and they're in the red zone again.
Yep.
They've come away empty twice, Rod.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Turnovers in the red zone. They have to be better than that. And having that quarterback run back into the offense makes Auburn's offense more deadly. But you got to be good in the red zone, and they haven't been.
Barber powering between the tackles inside the 10, brought down at about the 9-yard line. You know, Sean White's high school coach and his coaches here at Auburn will tell you that don't be deceived by the boyish looks. He's a lot better runner than most people think.
Well, right now he's probably going to have some steely nerves and probably not run with the ball. This is a 3rd down and a bit to go. Probably going to get some heat. Manny Diaz likes to bring pressure when he's down around the goal line.
Still got it. Gets to the edge and tripped up. What a great effort by Ryan Brown, number 48. Boy, Rod, he lunged and was able to trip up Sean White.
Yeah, Jonesy, great play because he's not one of the quicker guys. I know that Auburn felt they could take advantage of him on the outside. They thought everybody was faster than him, but look at him make this play. And now 4th down, I think you need I think you need a touchdown. I'm with the fans here. The fans are booing. They don't want a field goal. They want a touchdown.
They bring in Carlson to try this one from 25 yards out. And they're going to go into a fake here. Stovall, the holder, under center. And maybe they're going to try and pull him offside.
Yeah, he didn't fool anybody. No, but you know what I mean about the touchdown? I mean, go back to the third down play.
Game. Offense. Tiger penalty. Fourth down.
If you're thinking about a touchdown, you've got 2 plays down there to get it, and you've run the ball pretty well. You throw it, you're done. You're fourth and 3. You can run it on third down. You can come back and take the 4th down shot. But you missed the 3rd down. Now you have no choice. But I still think at this point they needed a touchdown. They needed to plan to try and get 7.
Well, they're hoping to get at least 3 here out of that fumble recovery they got. Also missed earlier tonight from 26. He nails this one from 30. And after 36 minutes, they're finally on the board.
Yeah, you know, let me take that back. They got points off turnover.
Okay.
I'm good with that. I'm going to live with that.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And Scion, premium standard features that actually come standard. Weird, right?
That's a pretty impressive motorcade heading towards the stadium. Thought maybe Charles Barkley or somebody might be riding in that one tonight. Yeah. Saw him and saw Chuck Person, former Hall of Famer here at Auburn. Now on the staff of Bruce Pearl, the basketball coach. A big recruiting weekend for them. And Holloway is going to take it on the 25-yard line. Well, folks, start your Sunday with the NFL Insiders team for all the latest headlines and breaking news. Then the countdown crew goes inside the NFL storylines as only they can, starting at 10 a.m. on ESPN. Looking at 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs from their own 25-yard line, and going to be interested to see now how this Auburn defense does after winning that last battle and getting 3 points out of that fumble recovery they got. Prescott keeps it, and Rod, in comparison to previous games against Auburn, he's passing the ball exceptionally well. You see those numbers, but he's run it just a handful of times. What do you make of the overall strategy?
I think it's worked pretty well. He's been efficient with the passes. Some of them are long handoffs. They've saved him. They can run him in the second half if they need to.
Completes this one to Holloway out of the backfield.
That's a long handoff.
Yeah, got back to the line of scrimmage. Brought down by Tim Irvin and Chris Frost.
Jonesy, the question is now, will Muschamp feel comfortable bringing pressure? They haven't been able to get to Prescott with a 3 or 4 man rush. If he wants to get home, he's got to bring 5 or 6, and that has not been good for him so far tonight.
On 3rd and 7, Ross in motion. Prescott, boy, he almost had that one interception. He hit Blake Countess in the leg, it appeared. And it's 4th down, a 3 and out. And the Tiger defense. So there's your answer on how they followed up the fumble.
Well, they brought the pressure on 3rd down, brought 5. Prescott had to get rid of it early, and now you're right. The defense has stepped up, and it brings a little bit of energy from the crowd that Malzahn really wants to have involved to help his young team.
Logan Cook punting, averaging 37.9 on the season. Marcus Davis standing at his own 30-yard line. A high spiral. Boy, this one is up there a long time. Wow, what a punt. Drives Davis all the way back to the 18-yard line, but there's a flag down. And it's going to go against the Bulldogs. A 55-yard punt.
Illegal formation. 5 men in the backfield in the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
They're going to make him kick it over again. That's going to be a tough one to top for Logan Cook. Mississippi State has used several different combinations of punters and kickers this year, but judging by that last effort, Cook was the hot guy in pregame. That's who Dan Mullen said he would go with. Whoever seemed to be doing well in the moments before kickoff.
Yeah, if he doesn't get off a booming one here, it's going to be pretty decent field position for Auburn.
Yeah, that 55-yarder rod would have been a career long for Cook. This one not quite as good as the previous one. Bobbled a little bit by Davis. And Davis brought down at the 39-yard line. A 42-yard effort. 5 on the return. Sean White ready to take the reins of the offense on the other side of this.
Sunday night.
You know, folks, be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. Look at that beautiful time-lapse photography. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to learn how to win a chance to join your school student section at the College Football Playoff. You know what? These Auburn fans were here at 5:10 p.m. in the student section. It was filled up at 5:10. That's a full hour 20 before kickoff, and another sellout crowd here. Awesome place to watch a college football game on a Saturday. Rock Thomas out near the first down with a great second effort. On his second carry of the ball game, gets 9.
You know, when you get your linemen out on linebackers, it creates running lanes. See the cutoff blocks, a little bit of hold out there, but they get to the linebacker.
White tripped up and falling forward right around that marker. And let's see where they spot it. They're going to give him enough for the first down. Move the chains. Will Redmond making the stop on the play. First down and 10 for the Tigers. Well, we haven't called Ricardo Lewis's name much today. Number 5 for the Tigers. He was their leading receiver coming into the game. Barber on the handoff. Couple of great moves. And tackled at the 42 by Coleman.
They're doing a good job, that offensive line, particularly the guards, getting out onto those inside linebackers.
Second down and 1. And a first down by Barber as we go down to Quint.
No substitutions so far in this drive for Auburn, allowing them to play a little faster. That snap came with 26 to play on the play clock. Tempo has been better in the second half.
They were on pace, Quinn, to hit the 70-plus play mark that they were talking they needed to get in this ball game.
Into the boundary, it's Barber. Turns it upfield. And Barber with a first down at the Mississippi State 22. An 18-yard gain. Whatever it is this offense is doing, they're doing it right.
Well, they're getting to the edge. They are blocking the end and getting to the edge. And now you see the explosive plays. Their first 3 games, they had a total of 16. They already have 4 of them tonight.
And remember, they define an explosive play as more than 12 yards on a run.
The offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And more than 15 yards via the pass.
You know, Jonesy Malzahn talked at halftime about self-destructing. Here they are again near the red zone and having issues. 2 turnovers down there already, and now a penalty to push them back out to the 27.
Well, he talked about the fact that this is their home conference opener. A game that they must win. Barber stuffed right at the line of scrimmage as we go back to the studio.
All right, Mark, an update over on ESPNU. Vandy and Ole Miss. Johnny McCrary here finds Ralph Webb, who powers his way into the end zone. 13-13 in the third quarter on the U, guys.
Wow, Ole Miss struggling a little bit. Second and 14. 10 on the play clock now. Barber's going to pass. And White runs with it. Everybody covered. And Barber beside him. And White takes off for 13 yards.
His high school coach said he is a better athlete than people realize. Everyone says he's a pocket passer. How about that quick little move to get to the edge? Correct hand with the football, and he gets close enough for a 3rd and short.
It's like a 3rd down and 1. Pretty healthy, 7.8 average running the ball. This is Barber, and he picks up the 1st down for Auburn, getting 3 yards. What's the counter now for Mississippi State? Because Auburn has moved the ball well on this drive.
Well, yeah, they've hurt them on the edge. The off-tackle play and getting to the outside. They've blocked the corner, blocked the edge really well. Look for Manny Diaz again to shore that up. He likes pressure down here. He will make sure that they don't get to have an easy route to the edge.
Cutaway sets in the backfield. And nothing doing between the tackles that time. Ryan Brown was the first one to get there to meet Peyton Barber. No gain on the play. 2nd down coming up. Play coming up. 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. White takes off and brought down at about the 7-yard line by Richie Brown. Picked up 3. 3rd and goal.
So this
They've
is the
struggled
play.
in the red zone.
Yep, and this is the play you have to have. Now, for Gus Malzahn, are you thinking 1 play and then a field goal if you don't get it, or 2 plays? If you're thinking 2 plays because you go for it on 4th down, now's your chance to find the run play that you like. You know you're going to get pressure. Is the pressure coming inside or is it coming outside?
11 play of the drive. Kerryon Johnson in the backfield behind Sean White. White fires incomplete at the 3-yard line. Intended for Truitt, who had checked into the ball game. 4th down, in comes the field goal.
Well, credit Manny Diaz on this. Malzahn does not like what he sees, but give credit to Diaz. Instead of bringing pressure, he outfoxed him. He dropped 8 guys into coverage. There was no place to throw the ball. Nobody was open, and only rushed 3 men. So now you get a field goal attempt as opposed to a 4th down play that you can do something with, or even a score.
Carlson from 25 yards out. Missed from 26 earlier. Made one last time from 30, and this one is true. And it's an 8-point ball game. A lot of trips into the red zone and just a couple field goals to show for it. But plenty of football left here at Auburn University. Folks, ESPN College Football number 19, USC looking to get back on track in a conference road test at Arizona State tonight at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN. But a lot of football left here before you go there.
How about the beatdown that UCLA is putting on Arizona, 42-14. You think about that USC-Arizona State game. Well, the winner and the loser of that game will be looking up at UCLA for all intents and purposes. Arizona State, no conference losses, but UCLA really rolling and higher ranked right now.
There are some questions about the Bruins coming into the season because Huntley had decided to leave early and go pro.
And they've lost 3 players off their defense, 3 starters, 3 of their best players.
Miles Jack included amongst them. Holloway makes the catch. It'll come back out to the 25-yard line. 1st down and 10 from Mississippi State.
Hey, Jonesy, that last drive by Auburn resulted in a field goal. Their best drives have been pretty good. 12 plays, 54 yards, 5 minutes plus, but they are 0 for 4 in the red zone in terms of touchdowns. And you keep kicking field goals. That's not a recipe for winning.
No. At some point, you got to push it over that goal line. 1st and 10 Prescott puts a little air under the ball and finds his man Shumpert out of the backfield. Complete, being covered by Jonathan Jones. First down, Bulldogs, a gain of 18.
It's a staple of this offense. Is by and large, they throw it on first down to set up the rest of the drive.
From the 43. Another completion. Fred Ross doing the trick. And down to the 46-yard line. Countess making the stop, but another first down, an 11-yard gain.
You know, Prescott is recognizing where to go with the ball so quickly. There is no chance for any pressure to get there.
Completes it. Ross has a couple blockers ahead of him, but only picked up 2. You know, going back to Prescott's decision to come back, Dan Mullen had an interesting point when he talked about Prescott being able to come back, and unlike a guy like Hundley, who we just mentioned, who left early, Prescott comes back and gets quality reps against NFL-type talent in the SEC. We'll talk about more on the other side of this play. Finds his receiver again. This time it's Wilson, and another first down. A valid point, Ron?
Yeah, you know, there is some value, I'm certain, for Hundley sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, but he may have to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for another 5 years. This way, you've got a guy here who's getting some reps and will be in the draft next year and have a shot at it. We'll see.
First down and 10 for Mississippi State from the 45. Off the play action. Got rid of it, but it's broken up nicely at the 38-yard line by Chris Frost. He's one of the guys. Rod, when you turn on the film tomorrow or Monday, he's going to grade out pretty well because he's made some plays tonight defensively.
He didn't like the film session last week, nor did his running mate, Casanova McKenzie. But this one he'll take. He's playing his heart out.
Second and 10. Prescott keeps it, a great straight arm. Boy, that was right out of old school football pages. Prescott came up and met the would-be tackler and frankly said, talk to the hand. An 8-yard gain.
You were asking where the running game from Prescott is? Well, his 230 pounds and his straight arm says, I'm right where I need to be.
Yeah. 3rd and 2. Down into the end zone and incomplete, intended for Donald Gray. Good coverage by Jonathan Jones, and 4th down coming up for Mississippi State.
Well, this is slightly further than they would like for a field goal attempt. So I would imagine you have Mullen going for it. No, he's sending his field goal.
It looks like Logan Cook is coming in. And that's the first time that Prescott has had 2 incompletions in a row tonight.
Yeah, he said his comfort zone was kind of 25-yard line just inside. This is a little bit outside of it.
Weston Graves going to try this one from 44 yards out. Cook the holder. High snap, but Cook gets it down. And the Bulldogs tack on 3 more. A career-long 44 yards for Weston Graves.
Blake, this.
Dak Prescott led his team downfield, and for the first time tonight, as I said, he had 2 incompletions in a row, but he has been extremely efficient tonight. His team leading 17-6. And coming into the game tonight, he had a streak of 150 straight passes without an interception. He can make that 183 right now.
You mentioned efficiency, and he's taken the short pass, the little dump-off pass, the screen pass.
From the goal line, this is Jonathan Ford. And Ford tackled at the 22-yard line. Let's go back to the studio.
All right, update on the SEC. Let's start over on ESPNU. Robert Kimdichie, look at big fella, powering his way in. Ole Miss up 20-13 over Vandy. And over on ESPN, Raleigh Williams is going to do the trick for Arkansas. The Razorbacks are bouncing back with a 21-13 lead, getting late against A&M. Mark, Rob?
A little surprising there. Look at some must-win situations this week.
Yeah, you figured USC is on the clock. They've got to get a win. Arkansas, after 2 straight losses, they really can't afford a 3rd one here. And Texas A&M, plus a little trash talking probably afterwards from Coach Handsome.
Coach Handsome, and here's Sean White running for the first down. Let's get back to that.
Well, Coach Handsome,
Texas Tech.
Cliff Kingsbury,
yeah.
who took Brent Bielema, the Arkansas coach, out behind the woodshed after saying some things about the run and shoot or spread offense.
But Coach B he threw a little shade back at him.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But Coach Handsome said, my guy over at Texas A&M is going to get you this week. Kevin Selman's going to have his way with you. But that's not happening right now.
4 minutes to go in that game. White hands it off to Barber. Brought down by Richie Brown. With 30 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Auburn got a couple of field goals in the period to get back in this ball game. Sean White making his first start tonight. Took his first snap of his collegiate career. Redshirt freshman, 9 of 11 for 92 yards passing. He got hit as he released it. It's caught, and it's complete for the first down to Melvin Ray.
He throws a nice ball. He really does. A little zip on it. Even though it's thrown really hard, it's catchable. It's a nice catchable ball.
15 minutes to go. Here at Auburn University, the home crew down 17-6. A little concern at Toomer's Corner, downtown Auburn. All right. Back for the final 15 minutes here. 17-6 ball game. Mississippi State leading Auburn. Dak Prescott has been a paragon of proficiency tonight. 256 total yards. Sean White making his first start, 10 of 12. Thank you very much.
And Elvis in the house. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we know where Elvis is. I'm wondering, where is Duke Williams?
Great question. Will he emerge on this drive?
I think it's hard to win without him being a factor.
White gets rid of it quickly. Complete. That's Rock Thomas. And every time Rock Thomas has touched the ball tonight, good things have happened for the Tigers. He picks up 14.
You see what Braxton Miller started with the spin move? Now every week, everybody's doing the spin move.
Yeah, everybody's hitting that circle button on the console. First down and 10. Another handoff, but nowhere to go. So that stops Rock Thomas's good streak. A.J. Jefferson, good penetration there up front.
Manny Diaz
defense
on first down. That's his sort of MO on first down, to bring pressure. We see more of that in college football. The name of the game is getting a tackle for loss, a negative play on first down, to create a 3rd and long, because these offenses are so good that you have to get them early on first down.
Saw a shot of Williams. Will White get it to him? He comes underneath instead. There's that spin move. It's going right into Richie Brown. Says, yeah, I play that video game too.
Yeah, he played that one right. Hey, you're talking about the leading tackler at Mississippi State, the guy who's been maybe the biggest surprise. And what a good wrap-up and takedown. Spin this.
3rd down and long. Got to get down to the 34-yard line.
See how that first down play created this 3rd and long? That's the change in football now.
This Davis sets after going in motion. White into traffic and almost picked off. Dangerous pass intended for Ray, and Brown almost had himself a pick.
It is a dark and scary place over the middle of the field. A lot of things lurking there. You have to be careful over the middle. Look at all the white shirts. Brown, 42, just hovering, waiting. Sean White never saw him.
He took a chance, huh?
Yeah.
Kevin Phillips into punt now for Auburn. 3rd one of the day. Fred Ross back at the 10-yard line for the Bulldogs. A low line drive spiral and a fair catch called just beyond the 15-yard line. 33-yard punt, nothing on the return. Mississippi State trying to improve to 3-1.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries. First drive, fast living.
Reigning league MVP Aaron Rodgers leading the Packers against Jamal Charles and the Chiefs. Chiefs and Packers Monday night at 8:15 on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN. Let's go downstairs to Quinn.
We must change our defensive culture. The words of Will Muschamp, defensive coordinator at Auburn. 5 starters demoted. It's a defense that's tackling, flowing to the ball, and all of a sudden they look pretty solid against the run. But this is a key series for this unit.
Quint, they've done much better than their season average to date. Prescott, though, able to complete this pass against them. Rushing the ball, they've done a good job. When you hold a team, I know the game's not over, but when you hold someone to 17 points, or even if you hold somebody to 24 points these days in college football, that seems to be a huge win for the defense.
It is. It's a fantastic effort. But there's another factor with this rush defense for Auburn after the play.
Okay, 2nd and 3. Prescott, comfortable in the pocket, completes it to Wilson.
Because the defense has shut down the rushing attack, Mississippi State can't shorten the game now. They can't run the football to make the game shorter. Instead, they have to throw it. And so you're not bleeding the clock. They've got a 2-possession game. Ideally for them, they'd like to bleed a lot more time off the clock.
Good point. And they try running it here in a decent game by Brandon Holloway, the 165-pounder running inside for 4 yards.
You know, Jonesy, the other remarkable thing is that it was just a week ago that this defense was horrible. Just horrible. I mean, missed tackles, lack of effort.
On 2nd and 6. Prescott snaps it with 8 seconds to go in the play clock, and a nice gain around the edge. Good tackle by Jones on Holloway. I'm not sure you can change the culture in 1 week, but they've improved tonight because this is what it looked like last week.
Well, yeah, this was the prime example of things that were problems. This is Rudy Ford. Not much of an effort on that play to try and get Leonard Fournette, and they've wiped that out tonight. They've played hard. They've tried to make tackles. They've shown up on defense.
Prescott to pass. Broken up nicely, and no flag on the play. Countess on Ross as we go to the studio.
All right, updating you on the game on ESPN. Arkansas and A&M. A&M coming back. 2.5 minutes and change left to go. That was a 2-point conversion right there after a Trey Carson touchdown run. Ties things up. Just over a minute left to go over on ESPN.
2nd and 10. The handoff is to Shumpert. And Shumpert gets about 3 yards on the play. Shumpert, a 6'2" junior out of Fulton, Mississippi. And, you know, Dan Mullen, when he first got the job, he wanted to make sure that he got all the good players in the state, or at least the majority of them.
He's got
37.
Yeah, huge one for this defense.
Little bubble screen complete. And it's going to be stopped up short of the first down. Complete to Miles. But they're 2 yards short. Countess in again on the tackle. A gain of about 5.
Well, Countess has been a wrecking crew all by himself out there. You saw him just make the play on the pass. Now he comes up and makes a good first down saving tackle on the right side of the field. He's really played well tonight. Michigan transfer, graduate transfer. And he was one of those guys that got trucked last week by Leonard Fournette.
Who didn't, Rod?
Yeah.
You see what he did to Syracuse today?
Oh, man. He's not playing football. He's just out there running track.
Yeah, a lot of sprints by a lot of guys in his wake tonight. The punt down at the 10-yard line. LSU has defeated both these teams. Both these teams looking for a win tonight when we come back.
36 hours ago, you were Jeff and Susan. Now
ESPN College Football Brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters. And Coke Zero. All taste, 0 calories. Try a new game day tradition.
When the Auburn band starts playing Word Up, you know it's getting serious. Now let's look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Allstate. Rod, what jumps off the page at you on the results there?
Well, TCU and Texas Tech, 55-52, but down there at the bottom, UCLA, I mean, that's a behind the woodshed, and that was a big deal for Tucson, Arizona. They showed up for game day.
They sure did. Rich Rod was all smiles before that. That pass complete. They're not booing, folks. They're saying Duke.
He lives. They found him.
17-yard gain and a first down.
He's a guy that can really get some things done for you, but he's been missing in action this season. That's his 9th catch of the season, 2nd one today.
Sean White back to pass. Incomplete. That one had a lot of heat on it, intended for Peyton Barber. Rod, what are the receivers on this Auburn team thinking when you switch quarterbacks from Jeremy Johnson to Sean White? Is it optimism? Is it, I hope it gets better? What goes through their mind?
You know, as a teammate, you try to be positive. I'm sure they were frustrated. You know, 6 picks and a few more that could have been picks. And we got a great receiver in Duke Williams who had 7 catches in 3 games coming in.
Preseason All-American.
Yeah, he wanted the ball. So if it gets him the football more, he's happy.
2nd down and 10. White hit as he tried to deliver the pass, and it's incomplete. Good pressure by Beniquez Brown. Number 42 right there for the Bulldogs.
One of the few times we've seen pressure, and Brown does a good job of staying with the play, even though he didn't have it at first. Now, expect on 3rd down, you see these safeties back here? Those are safeties hanging back there to prevent the big play.
Auburn 3 of 10 on 3rd downs tonight. Little pressure coming off the edge. White hit as he released and incomplete. So Manny Diaz again, Rod, as you've shown us in film, brings some pressure. Will Redmond was blitzing off the edge there.
It's a great concept. He plays safely behind with a lot of deep zone coverage and then brings pressure that you're not expecting to get to the quarterback. So the ball has to come out fast, and you can't throw a deep ball over his head. That's a really good job.
His defense has done a great job tonight, holding Auburn to 6 points. Phillips into punt. JUCO transfer came into the game averaging over 46 yards per. Fair catch called back at the 25-yard line by Fred Ross on the 47-yard punt. Well, start your Sunday with the NFL Insiders team for all of the latest headlines and breaking news. Then the countdown crew goes inside the NFL storylines as only they can, starting at 10 a.m. on ESPN. I'm Mark Jones alongside Rod Gilmore, both chopping it up with Clint Kesenick down on the sidelines in this pivotal, critical game for a couple of teams in the SEC. It's tough to win the West with 2 losses.
Yep, and I asked you before the game, panic move or game-saving changes by Auburn to overhaul their offense and defense?
Austin Shumpert in the backfield. Prescott behind his receiver, incomplete, intended for Darunia Wilson. Knocked away by Jonathan Jones. Back to studio.
Let's update you on the Pac-12. There, Mark and Rod. We'll start with UCLA at Arizona over on ABC. And Paul Perkins, that's his 3rd touchdown of the day. Early 2nd half, it's all UCLA. Meanwhile, Utah up in Eugene, taking on Oregon. Travis Wilson finds Kenneth Scott. We'll get that score out of the way. 27-13, Utah on top.
Oh, Utah with a little bit of a surprise there. This is Shumpert. Gain of 3 on the play.
About 9 minutes left for Auburn as we talked about the gamble. Starting a redshirt freshman quarterback who hadn't played a college football game overhauling the defense. 5 new starters, 2 freshmen in the secondary, trying to save their season. And now 9 minutes left. It's on the line.
3rd and 6. Prescott under duress and fires a little bit long for Fred Ross. So the Tigers defense able to make a play and get off the field. Justin Garrett was coming fast and furious. So Mississippi State only able to burn 51 seconds on the clock on that last possession.
But remember, they have a 2-possession lead.
Cook at the punt, a booming effort. Man, that thing was up there for a while. Folks, anything in the air that long should have a movie on it. 54 yards.
Which flick?
2 parts to whatever of it.
The moment's arrived. The best iPhone ever is here.
Welcome back, everyone, to Jordan Hare here at Auburn University, 17-6. The Tigers on offense, Mark Jones, Rod Gilmore, Quint Kesnick down in the field. Rod, next week, Auburn has San Jose State coming in, a lesser opponent of sorts. What about the prospect of making that quarterbacking change next week?
Well, and
as
they
opposed
haven't
to now in a conference game.
They have an open date after San Jose State, and I think a lot of coaches would have decided to do just that. Wait.
As Sean White delivers a strike to Duke Williams.
And I think there's going to be heavy discussion about that next week among fans if they lose this game. Now, Johnson, you could have said, hey, veteran guy, give him one more conference game, a home game. Wait until next week to figure out if you need to make the switch. White's played pretty well, except the red zone has been a problem for them.
He moved the ball down the field nicely as he hands it off to Barber. Barber picks up the first down on the game's opening drive. He marched it down the field, Sean White did, the redshirt freshman, but then threw a critical interception on the 2-yard line, which kind of set the tone for the night when it comes to the red zone.
Yeah, it really did. And now you're asking the youngster who had not played in college before to save the day here with 8 minutes to go.
Coach Malzahn said that he kind of reminded him of Chris Todd back in 2009, but under heat, fumbled it. It came loose. And they got it back. Jefferson made the big hit on the play on White.
You know, Gus Malzahn told us that he considered waiting another week and considered the fact that there may be issues with a redshirt freshman out there, as you see the ball on the ground that they recovered. But he said he felt that his quarterback, Johnson, had lost confidence and it was best for the team to make the move this week. So it's not like he didn't consider waiting another week.
Out of the backfield, this is Rock Thomas. And Rock, gain of 2 on the play, brought down by Richie Brown in hot pursuit.
And Rock Thomas is down.
A little over 7 minutes to go. And Mississippi State looking for its 3rd win in the last 4 tries against Auburn.
That was
Thomas still down.
Richie Brown on the tackle. You'll see him right there. That's his 10th tackle of the night, and Rock Thomas is slow to get up afterwards.
It's a different angle.
Hard to tell. Good to see him up.
Let's go to the studio.
All right, Mark, Rod, while you guys have a timeout, just updating you on what's happening on ESPN. In overtime, Arkansas and A&M. Beautiful pitch and catch here. Kyle Allen to Christian Kirk. A&M on top early. Arkansas now with their chance to tie things up.
All right, back here, Rock Thomas being helped off the field by the athletic trainers. 3rd down and a long way to go for Auburn. Trying to keep their hopes alive in the SEC West. And nowhere to go, sacked back at the 11-yard line. Beniquez Brown, the first one to arrive. And they had that well diagnosed. Boy, Manny Diaz's defense.
Well, he dialed up the pressure. Watch the left side. It's going to come from over here. They don't anticipate it. They bring so much from that side, including Brandon Bryant, the nickelback, came in as part of the blitz. They couldn't pick it up. And now it's looking really dire for Auburn.
Second straight sack for Beniquez Brown. Fair catch called by Fred Ross. Going to be good field position for Mississippi State. Time winding down on the Auburn Tigers and Coach Gus.
What is that? It's a wing ring. I ask you what kind of wings.
Aggies, 4th and 4 for Arkansas. Kyle Allen. Pass broken up. Razorbacks have lost 3 straight. Back out to the guys with Jordan Hare.
And A&M earns its first SEC win of the season.
Jonesy, I think there were some SEC teams that were overhyped preseason.
Like?
Well, Tennessee now has 2 losses, and you're only at week 4. Arkansas has 3, and you're at week 4.
One to Toledo.
And Auburn is staring a second loss in the face. These are all teams, including Auburn, that was ranked pretty high at number 6. And everyone had Tennessee as a dark horse, and Arkansas as being a dark horse to win the West. Maybe they were overhyped. I think they were overhyped.
It's been a calamitous fall for the Auburn Tigers. On the sweep, Fred Ross running east-west and gains about 3 on the play. Clock running with about 6 minutes to go now as we go down to Quint.
Jones, you mentioned that clock. Dan Mullen's intent today was to play fast. Let's see if they put their foot on the brake right here and start managing this clock and taking this play clock down as that runner stayed in bounds.
You know, Quint,
he just pointed at his watch.
Yeah, they've only run 55 plays, so they really haven't had a chance to manage the clock, but they need to now. You're absolutely right.
2nd and 5. Let's see where they snap it. Play clock down to 6. They snap it with 2 seconds to go on the clock and pick up the first down, courtesy of Brandon Holloway on a nice run.
Well, if you're Auburn defensively, you don't have much of a choice now. You actually have to use your run blitzes. You've got to load up the box and really stop things. And you have to start thinking about timeouts because you really need 2 possessions to tie up the game or to have a shot to win.
6-yard gain that time by Brandon Holloway. And Mississippi State looking for another win against Auburn here. Beat them last year. Remember, after they beat Auburn last year, they were ranked number 1 for the first time in the school's history. Circumstances a little different this time around. The pass complete to Gus Wally. With 4:45 to go. Top of the hour, Mark Jones chopping it up with Rod Gilmore. Quint Kessenich down on the sidelines. Pat Dye Field here at Jordan Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. 87,000 strong here. Mississippi State taking on Auburn, and the Tigers perhaps watching their hopes in the SEC West dissipate tick by tick on the clock. 2nd down and 5. Prescott keeps it himself and is stopped up right near the line of scrimmage. Brian Cowart, the first one to get there.
Can you imagine what it will be like down here next week if this score holds?
Ooh.
2 straight losses for Auburn, 3 straight bad weeks, and to be out of the race essentially before September is even over.
Look on that face says it all. Prescott keeps it and brought down from behind. Good pursuit by McKenzie.
Strong play. He was also one of the guys benched for this ball game, but McKenzie has stepped up and played well. Had some good performances also by Chris Frost, who was benched and got in there.
Time out on the field. We'll take one with them. tonight. Catch all today's college football highlights plus action from the MLB pennant races. Sports Center at night on ESPN and streaming live on Watch ESPN. From the 40-yard line, Prescott, after that run, coming up a little bit short. Then comes Logan Cook to punt. Going to try and down this inside the 10, and that's exactly where it's caught by Marcus Davis. A 30-yard punt, and Auburn will have to start from its own 10-yard line. 1st and 10.
Well, and you need chunks of yardage. The problem is Mississippi State is not really giving you the deep ball. We've not seen a throw downfield by Sean White tonight, and part of that is really just the way Manny Diaz's defense has set back there and said, you can have the short stuff. You just can't have a big play deep.
Not that the Auburn coaches were surprised, because they said that Diaz had given them issues.
There they are.
Ricardo Lewis making his first catch of the night.
Their longest pass tonight has been 22 yards, and that was a catch and run. Wow. You've got to get the ball down the field, and there's a little bit of fear because of how deep those safeties are playing.
2nd down and 2. And a nice run by Peyton Barber. Picks up the 1st down. With under 3 minutes to go for the Auburn Tigers.
You need 2 scores, Jonesy. It doesn't matter if you get the field goal first or the touchdown. You need 2 scores. You got to hurry up and give yourself a chance to get the first score.
White checks down and passes to Barber out of the backfield. Pushed out of bounds at the 25. Got a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Auburn with 2 timeouts remaining. Mississippi State with 3.
You know, Jonesy, I really believe, as we talked about at the start of the game, that guy has to be more involved in your offense. He is a difference maker. And he came into tonight with 7 catches and has 2 catches tonight. And that's just not going to get it done. You're wasting a tremendous asset.
Sean White has gone the distance at quarterback tonight. And he completes that pass to his back, Peyton Barber. So, Rod, are you saying that the fact that Duke Williams hasn't been a big component of their offense tonight, then you could have gotten the same result with Jeremy Johnson at quarterback?
Well,
do you go that far with it?
Probably, but the other fundamental issue is their offense is out of sync. It's really based on quarterback run, opening up everything.
White completes this pass to Ricardo Lewis.
Go back and think about it. Cam Newton, Nick Marshall, when this team was at its best, it had the quarterback who could threaten you with the run, whether it's on the outside or the inside, as Marshall and Cam Newton did respectively.
That pass dropped in and out of the arms of Duke Williams. Brendan Bryant jarred it loose. And on cue, that's the guy we were talking about being a bigger factor offensively for Auburn.
Yeah, well,
can't drop those.
Got to catch it, yeah. But this offense is not going to be right until they actually have enough of a run threat. Now, Sean White made a couple runs, but they were kind of off scrambles. They really weren't committed to the quarterback design run. And when you take away the quarterback design run from this offense, there's not a whole lot left to make you worry. You can play soft coverage and take away the deep pass. And if you tackle, you can make it tough on them. And that's the formula that's been working against Auburn this season so far.
Let's go to the studio. What's Mississippi State's upcoming schedule? Okay. What's Mississippi State's upcoming schedule? Okay. All right, Chris, back here. This is Barber with a spirited run down to the 41-yard line. Hey, we're talking about Auburn's shortcomings, but what about Mississippi State? What do we say about them moving forward, Rod? A win here tonight puts them in a pretty good position if they can hang on with 1.5 to go. White taking a shot downfield and out of bounds.
Well, Mississippi State is solid, as Marcus Davis was the intended receiver out there. They are solid, playing solidly, lost to LSU, but they're still alive. This was an elimination game, and a win for Mississippi State keeps them in the hunt. Now, because they lost to LSU, they're effectively 2 games behind LSU. They would lose that tiebreaker with them. So they're going to need help and have someone else win the West if they're going to have a shot at it.
Second down and 10. White under duress and tackled for a loss, a huge one, back at the 46-yard line by Richie Brown. Said that name a lot tonight.
11 tackles. Yep. 11 tackles tonight. He has really been something, and this Mississippi State defense has been underrated. Remember, they had a chance to beat LSU on the last play of the game. They missed a 52-yard field goal, or otherwise we'd be talking about Mississippi State as the lead dog in the West right now.
Had they not had that slow start offensively in the first half, before finally getting their footing offensively to make it a game. And you'd have to go back to, as I said earlier, 2007 to find the last time that an SEC champ had 2 losses.
So now you're looking at Auburn with 2 losses. Now that puts them way behind LSU. They lost to them, and it puts them at a disadvantage in a tiebreaker with Mississippi State. And let's not even talk about A&M and Alabama, who are still out there.
Yeah. Folks, don't forget, coming up next, right after the game at Sports Center. 1:17 to go, 3rd and 22 for Sean White and Auburn's offense on what has proven to be another miserable and frustrating night for the Tigers. They're going to rule that complete to Duke Williams. They need a lot more of that in a very short period of time.
Unfortunately, most of his catches have come after the game has been decided, as tonight and last week against LSU.
Feel free to call it garbage time. That's what it is right now. Duke Williams went back to LSU last week and in front of friends and family members. He's from Louisiana. Only had a couple of passes caught. They're going to go for the field goal here.
Smart move.
Carlson.
You need 2 scores. If you can get this one, you can do the onside kick and try and get the second score. But you need 2, so it doesn't matter which one you get first.
From 51 yards out, it looks like he may have hooked it right between the bars. And he does. That started off to the right. So still with 1:07 to go, Auburn looking at an onside kick here.
So they extended the game. They kept themselves alive. That's why you go ahead and you do the field goal, to keep the game alive, extended. Now you're thinking onside kick. You got to recover it. You got to find a way to get into the end zone, and you got to get a 2-point conversion. We have seen some odd things. We saw Nebraska come back last week from a 23-point deficit late in the 4th quarter.
Yes, almost come back and beat the Miami Hurricanes. Of course, there have been some tweaks to the rule this year in college football on the onside kick, Rod.
Yeah, you have to make sure that the ball goes 10 yards, not just from recovering it, but you can't block.
Yeah, you can't drill somebody before.
No, you can't knock someone out of the way before the ball goes 10 yards.
Yeah, you used to be able to do that. It puts the team attempting the onside kick at a little bit of a disadvantage compared to previous rules, right?
That's why you see more teams go to the kick that they hope bounces over the first line. So you top it to try to get the second bounce so it goes over and you have a chance to get to it.
They've got 2 guys lined up. Hastings will pick the onside kick. And it wasn't fielded by anybody.
He didn't get the bounce.
No.
He
looking
tried
for that pop-up bounce and never got it. And Coach Malzahn a little upset. Mississippi State will take over there.
Well, I know Mississippi State is coming out on offense, but props to their linebacker, Richie Brown. 13 tackles tonight, 12 solo tackles, 2 sacks. Huge effort by the middle linebacker.
This defense has really done a great job against Auburn. And, you know, as a team, anytime you go on the road in the SEC and win, you've done something pretty special. Prescott takes a knee. And Auburn with 1 timeout remaining.
Timeout of the half, Auburn. It will be a 30-second timeout.
So where do you go now if you're Auburn? You kind of
film room.
Well, you drew your line in the sand last week. You changed your quarterback. You made 5 changes on the defensive side, and you scored 9 points tonight.
I'm not so sure that maybe Jeremy Johnson is back in play, and you consider him again, or I'm not sure. I mean, they said that he had ostensibly lost his confidence, and after the 6 interceptions in the first 3 games, they had to take a look at Sean White, but 9 points at home doesn't bode well either.
Well, and they had an interception in the red zone. They had a fumble on a bad snap in the red zone. Just really ineffective, inefficient. They still have a lot of the same issues now that they had coming into the game when Jeremy Johnson was the quarterback. Not a whole lot has changed in that sense. You got to get in the end zone.
Right. Under a minute to go now. Well, the defense for Auburn had some moments today.
Well, that is the one thing you can hang your hat on for Auburn, is that there was a huge defensive improvement by those guys.
You know, important to know, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that they're missing Carl Lawson tonight.
Yeah.
And nobody knows if and when he will come back defensively for the Auburn Tigers. He was their defensive leader, and Jeremy Johnson was their offensive leader, but he's now QB number 2. Prescott, the unquestionable leader of Mississippi State, gets the win here at Auburn as he goes 29 of 41 passing with 270 yards and a couple of touchdown tosses, and ran the ball 7 times for 66 yards. Actually, that was Ross who did a nice job running the ball that many times.
Jonesy, you got to go back to 2000.
Let's go downstairs to Quint.
Coach Mullen just escaped me to go congratulate Sean White. There you are. Coach, how would you best describe the mindset of your team entering this hostile environment tonight?
Well, we want to come in and play with relentless effort and everything we do in this strain. You know, I think when you look at our team, what we've done, we got some young players learning how to